What's up, everyone? Back with another Hill Club podcast, and I'm not really excited about this one. Today was a dark day in WWE, which seems to be like every 6 months at this point. More releases happened, which is an absolute shame. And I see a lot of people. I want to get something off my chest first. I see a lot of people on X celebrating that some of these people got released. Being glad that somebody lost their job is a dick move, and you should go fuck yourself. First of all, but
I agree.
before we get into breaking down all
I
these
want I want
people,
to add to that. Okay, I want to add to that because a lot of times people get excited when they see these major stars getting released because they're like, oh, they're gonna go here, they're gonna go there, they're gonna have a great indie run. People forget that so many wrestlers, like, their ultimate dream is to make it to the WWE. So you're not only like celebrating they lost their job, but that they lost out on their dream at that. So yes, I double to go fuck yourselves.
and
That
before
was
we go ahead,
that was the same argument I gave Shane and Joey earlier. Was the whole point of professional wrestling is to get to that the main ground, WWE, obviously. Like everybody, that's their main goal. You're not gonna sit here and tell me, oh well, they can go and do this elsewhere. That's not the point. The point is this is where they wanted to be, and you just fucking kicked them to the curb like they were nothing. It just makes a whole no sense at all. And a lot of the shit that went down, no sense. And I can't wait for that.
before I get into each name, what was going through y'all's minds whenever you was reading the releases?
I couldn't believe it. Some of these people, like, they have been, I wouldn't say focal points for them. A lot of them have been like, kind of like side characters and stuff. But didn't they just have Gigi Dolan attack Stephanie Vicaire on the Raw after Mania alongside was it Roxanne Perez? Was that not Gigi Dolan?
That was Julia.
Is that Julia?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Roxy and Julian.
All day.
dumbass.
I don't know NXT like that, bro, okay? But honestly, Braun Strowman was a big shock. But I don't mean to jump ahead to the names, but that one was the one that I was like, what the fuck? So
For me, it just doesn't make sense. A lot of the names that I saw personally, most of them were in either storylines or in the middle of something or were being brought up and shown on TV or just having high profile matches, and they're just kicked to the curb like they're nothing, bro. And it doesn't make any sense at all. Like some of them, and we'll dive into it, and I'll give my opinions on the ones that do make sense. But just there's a lot of names that should not be on that list, and there's a lot of names that I think should have been added to that list that haven't, and it makes zero fucking sense.
And we're gonna get starting off with some of these NXT names that I'm not the most familiar with or slightly familiar with. I'm talking about Javier Bernal. I think that's how you pronounce it. He was released.
Javier Bernal.
Yeah, he was released today. Or Riley Osborne, or Mishna, and Jakara Jackson. The metaphor one makes no sense and downright disrespectful after Tuesday night having them to have that segment of them going their own ways just to release them just goes to show how shitty this company has truly gotten under TKO.
I went back and watched that segment with the metaphor people, and if you look and kind of you can tell kind of just the way they're reacting, especially with Jakara and Oro. Oro didn't even look at the camera, didn't make any eye contact with any of the cameras are there, right? The whole thing is part of the thing. And then Jakara, you can tell she's just completely out of it. She don't even want to be there pretty much. So I think at least them two knew beforehand that they were getting canned, and this was a way to write them off. But it just bad taste, very bad taste in my mouth.
How about you,
Yeah.
Chris?
I second it. I didn't watch it, but I don't know, like when you have people, especially on NXT, where they're trying to grow and they're trying to rise the ranks to get to the main roster, and I feel like that's the last place you should be trying to trim the fat from, because it's not like NXT has a bloated roster. You know what I mean? It's it's a way for them to bring people in from different areas, and it's a way for them to have their shot. NXT is no longer developmental like it was, but it's still that like proving ground for the rising stars, and to like focus so much on so many, like on them first, like that, like it's just crazy.
An absolute shame. A couple other bigger name NXT people, Gallus and Cora Jade. Cora Jade absolutely
Yeah,
shocked the fuck out of me.
that
Absolutely
was
ridiculous.
she was so good, man. Oh my god. I mean, she's still
And a lot of
she's.
people,
Everybody,
Oh, go ahead, Jared.
a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's because she gets injured all the time." So does the fucking dork ass War Raiders. They're still on the fucking card. Valhalla gets pregnant every year. She's still on the roster. You got transphobic pieces of shit like Logan Paul still on your fucking roster.
CM Punk, he was injured almost immediately after coming back.
Yeah, and I want to start this off by saying one thing before we get into some of these other people. Fuck CM Punk. The dude that stands so much for these trans rights stays in the most transphobic MAGA company. Fuck you, Phil Brooks. Go fuck yourself.
I don't have a retort. I don't know. We'll talk about WWE and politics and political viewpoints later on, but let's get to more of these names.
Some of the main roster people, Katana Chance and Caden Carter. Let's just kill. They should just get rid of the women's tag titles. Zero
Yeah.
reason. The only women's tag team that you have on the well, you broke up Last Legend and Jakar Jackson because Jakar Jackson's released. Gigi and Tatum. Bye bye. See you later. Like the women's tag division is dead. Just kill the titles tonight. Triple H, kill the titles. It's stupid. The women's tag division sucks ass.
I think on like the same token with that, like the women's tag titles, you just introduced all these different, women's minor titles, and now every person that you have that could have been solid fucking contenders for these titles are just gone because reasons. And somebody had made the argument that this isn't Triple H. Like this is all from TKO. Like Triple H doesn't have anything to do with this. Yada yada yada. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
he does.
I was about to say,
I,
there's
I
no
don't.
way
I was
the
gonna
head
say
of
TKO. Look, here's the thing. TKO's not stepping into WWE's house to do that. Triple H, as much as like they own the WWE. I don't think they're worried about it as much when they have stuff like the UFC and all their other ventures. Like they're 100% leaving it. So yeah, no, this was 100% Triple H. Nobody will convince me otherwise on that. But I agree. You've torn up the women's tag division. At this point, you don't have enough people to circulate these mid card titles for the women that you have. They need to, if they're going to trim the fat now, they need to trim the fat on the women's titles. And that's not to say that they shouldn't have, of the women's variation of each. I thought that was super cool. But if you're getting rid of all these female wrestlers that could have been contenders for those titles, do away with the titles.
exactly makes
And
no sense.
now I'm gonna speak on each of these names individually because I feel like it was the biggest three, starting off with Shayna Baszler. The fact, I mean, she does make sense. She's gone. Vince McMahon absolutely destroyed her because fed her to Becky Hogan, and then Becky got pregnant. Like Shayna should have won. Shayna was so badass in NXT, like just
Becky
absolute.
Hogan.
That's what she is. Fuck Becky Lynch. Uh the fact that she never got pushed as this monster is absolutely ridiculous. Can't wait to see her kill it on the Indies.
I mean, she came from the Indies, so she's just pretty much going back home. You know what I mean? Like, she did the MMA gimmick that she did in WWE, but I agree, she was horribly, underutilized, and she could have been a big contender for so many different things, but let's tag her with Ronda Rousey. Go, because they both do MMA. Like, it was dumb. She could have been a good solo player, but they had to keep her. And I don't know. That one pissed me off. I love Shayna Baszler. I think she's one of the more dominant ones they have had.
My opinion on the Shayna Baszler one, like, yeah, it makes sense, but at the same time, you didn't really give her an opportunity to do what she did in NXT. Like, she's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion for a reason. Like, that didn't just happen because reasons. Like, the chick's badass, and as soon as she got to the main roster, she had that stupid ass feud with Ronda that ended with nothing. There was nothing that happened from it, and then she was just putting pointless ass tag matches or tag teams for the rest of her time. Even with the Pure Fusion Collective or whatever, the PFC, whatever the fuck they were now, like it's
One
just
thing I'm very sad about is we are no longer gonna get Shayna Baszler crashing these divas TikToks and stuff. I always enjoyed seeing those, man. Her and Zoe Stark's friendship was amazing. Her and Mia Yim loved it.
she got hoed for sure, and she definitely should have been a multi-time women's champion on either brand. There's no reason she didn't hold that fucking title. She got hoed.
Another woman that was released, Dakota Kai, absolute travesty that she got released. She is so good. She should have been the first women's IC title instead of boring ass Lara Valkyria. But WWE doesn't know how to push talent correctly. That's why we rep AEW over here. Fuck WWE for releasing
There.
Dakota Kai. They suck ass. Dakota Kai is gonna have a 100-star banger with Mercedes Moné here within a couple months, hopefully, and I'll be right with it.
I mean, I feel like if there's anybody that's going over to AEW, it's definitely Dakota Kai. Phenomenal women's wrestler. Again, another one of those that could have been in so much bigger stuff. Like, she was pushed fairly well, but like I still feel like she could have done more, and they could have done more with her. But unless you're one of the like big ones like Charlotte, Becky, Bailey, Zelina, like you don't matter to them. Rhea.
I think.
I forgot. Rhea.
I think. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. I think a big reason that she did get canned is because all the injuries with damage control. There's literally nothing you can do with them. EO is the world champ, so she's doing her own thing. Kyrie, Asuka, both out. Don't know when the fuck they're going to be back. So she was just laid to the wayside, had that push, and then it just didn't do anything. And then it sucks because she is one of the more talented of that group, in my opinion. She was one of the more talented women on the roster, but obviously fanfare and all that other bullshit doesn't fucking matter to this company, and they're all about the big bucks, especially since the merger. So it's been proven time and time again, especially if you look at the meet and greet sales and stuff like that, like fucking outrageous numbers. But that's all they care about is dollar signs. They don't care about the fanfare. They don't care about how much people care about these people. And Dakota Kai is one of them that I've scrolled through Twitter ever since like the releases started happening, and Dakota Kai is one of the ones that people are ready to go straight up to WWE headquarters and burn that bitch to the ground right now because they released her. So they're gonna have some deep shit on this one.
Yeah, WWE, all they talk about are these record gates. Record gates. We're making so much money, and then just release people. Like, if you ain't going to use these people, do what AEW does. And I will say this, AEW has released people in the past for you fucking virgins. Jump on to me in the comments section. But every person, minus, like, I think 4 or 5, has requested their release from AEW. Yes, does AEW let contracts run out and not re-sign them? 100%. But that's different than just releasing somebody and tell, yeah, you can't compete nowhere for 90 days. Have fun sitting
Yeah.
at the house. Which, I mean, they do get paid for that 90 days. I will I
Yeah,
believe
but
so.
still, it's their even if they get paid, bro. This is their passion. You could pay them the money that they're going to be out those 90 days, but at the same time, not getting to work because they want to be like, oh, I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. Like,
Another thing that
what?
kind of irritates me with the WWE, and before we get to the next person, is just the way that they've bought out. So they literally just bought AAA. You have WWE involved. You have all these other avenues for these people
TNA.
to spots. Yeah, exactly. TNA. You have all these other avenues for these people to have spots and get TV time and work. Why the fuck don't you utilize that? Why the fuck do you just can people and send them on their way instead of keeping them on the payroll that they want to be on? They wouldn't be there if they didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like nobody's there because they're forced to be there. You have a contract, but all contracts have an out. Let's be honest.
No,
And
not
for
them.
you just to
Not them.
for
Multiple
you to
wrestlers.
can people like that, it's crazy.
And I
When you
think
have so many different things. Okay.
and talking more on like Triple H, them buying Triple A, them going down and doing a partnership with TNA. It's all about Triple H trying to monopolize wrestling, trying to destroy AEW because like TNA worked with AEW. Triple A worked with AEW, and that's what Triple H wants to do. As much as WWE says they don't see AEW as competition, why do they counter book every single pay per view? Tell me, every single
But
AEW pay per view they counter book.
but on that logic, AEW bought out Ring of Honor. I'm not saying they're as big of a player as, AAA or whatever, but AEW bought them out. They have their partnership with fucking New Japan. It's essentially like to me, I don't think Triple H is trying to monopolize it. I think he's trying to keep up. Which that works out in your favor. That's saying he's watching what they're doing and he's taking notes. But I think he's trying to keep up because AEW has been doing that.
Yeah, but no TNA star besides overrated Joe Hendry has done anything remotely close in WWE. New Japan and AEW have a closer partnership that works for both of them. WWE buys these companies to bury their talent and put their own talent up.
You're not wrong. After watching GCW and seeing like almost every WWE person go over in their matches, like I could
And
see that.
the most shocking release was definitely Braun Strowman. Um, but he'll probably go do the Hulk Hogan company or some shit. I don't know. So, I don't like Braun Strowman, but still sucks to see him go.
You're not wrong, man. I thought, bro, when he came back, he was in like the best shape of his life. Like that man, there's so much more they could have done with him. Why'd you turn your light off? Anyways, there's so much more that could have been done with Braun Strowman and like the feuds that he could have had, bro. Oh my god, it's upsetting to me.
Yeah, no. To answer your question, obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Braun's one of the ones that makes sense. Dude, I think he was on like neck surgery or whatever. This was like the third time that he's had to be gone on the surgery or something, or an injury or something like that since he's been back, and he's been back since 22. So
I mean, but how many times was Triple H in and out with his quad surgeries and
I
everything, and
know.
Stone Cold?
Big
I
E's
don't.
out. He fired.
Who? Biggie? Yeah, Biggie still has a job.
I'm not saying it's right.
I'm not saying
I'm
you're
not
saying it's
saying
right.
that's what.
I'm just saying to your point that was you said it makes sense, and I'm saying that it doesn't make sense because there's been several people. Corey Graves
I don't
when he was
agree with. Like I said, there's people that should be added to that list that aren't on there, and we're getting there. Don't worry. I'm just saying this one makes sense just for the fact of the matter that you still have to be able to work, and if you can't work with Big E, he's a person. So if you have a person, like if you can talk, If you're charismatic, you're gonna be able to still be used by the system, but not work for it. You know what I mean? And the
Fuck
same
the
thing with Corey
system.
Graves. Corey Graves is on commentary because he's charismatic, because he can talk. Braun Strowman, not the best talker. He was just a big dude that just hurt people all the time.
Send him to the developmental to train people, bro. Look what they did with fucking.
Okay, this is exactly what I was just saying like 10 seconds ago. They don't utilize the things that they have, and that's their fucking problem. So instead of doing that, they send them back. Braun Strowman makes sense because there wasn't anything for him to do, especially with Jacob Fatu getting into the feuds that he was getting into and being a profile guy. Braun Strowman was just another guy in the backfield, and then with Bronson Reed going down, that also didn't help him because he was supposed to be in a feud with him, but then Bronson Reed fucking snaps his leg in two and is so there wasn't for anything for him to do, and it didn't. And I think somebody had made the comment that it could have been a mutual thing with them just because of the neck and thing, and him being out for as long as he did, which would make sense because I don't think I've seen him post anything like aggressive towards WWE like Keanu Carver has, or Shayna Baszler kind of backhanded, had a little comment on there or whatever, but I could be completely wrong, and we'll never know. But Braun Strowman makes the most sense out of the ones we've talked to so far.
And that is all the names minus Eddie Thorpe, but I'll get to talking about Eddie Thorpe right here in a minute because he has his own little thing here. But there's a kind of pattern that I have noticed, and I saw this on X. Since November, and since the Trump administration has taken over, a lot of the LGBTQ people has been released. Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox, and Indy Hartwell, Blair Davenport, and then Caden Carter. Goes to show, and then the comments Triple H made this week, the comments Paul Heyman made, it just goes to show that
What did Triple H say?
he's talking about how Trump has done phenomenal for the country. And then also, talking more on Eddie Thorpe, Eddie Thorpe showed very much disdain for Donald Trump and stuff, and now he's gone. Explains a whole lot. And also, speaking more on Kiana Carter, who has not been released yet, 1 hour ago, he tweeted out one of the best tweets I have ever seen in my entire life because this is what I've been saying for months. These motherfuckers ain't ready for this shit. They dick eating these Samoans because The Rock is on the board of directors, who think they like that, who be voting for Trump, and they ain't really like that. Dude out here shooting fucking missiles.
So how long till his release do you think?
He's probably gone already.
Well, once WWE wakes up and sees that shit, they're gonna be like,
Look,
yeah, buddy.
Look, I could look, I don't know. I see your point. You know what I mean? I definitely see your point on that one. I feel like it could be just a massive coincidence, or it could be the politics at play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, who was the one we were saying is still there? Zoe Stark, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's still there. If we see something otherwise coming up soon, I'm gonna wholeheartedly agree with Jared, because to cut that many of the LGBT community, like, one or two is one thing, but to decrease almost every one of them is wild behavior. And they're trying to spread it out over time so it's not looking like, oh, this is why. I'm not saying it is why. We don't know for sure, but there are a lot of backhanded stuff happening with that. Which is crazy to me because CM Punk is supposedly this big LGBT supporter, trans rights supporter, and he ain't speaking up here.
I'll put money on Punk going to Saudi next year for the Rumble.
Yeah.
After all the
Yeah.
shit he talked, Punk is a conservative, I think, and really, and he just used stuff in AEW like that to try to cater to that fan base because CM Punk is a fucking cancer. He is. I can't stand CM Punk. He's my least favorite wrestler of all time, honestly.
I get you there.
But yeah, it's
But
hard to support WWE, and also them doing the releases doing SmackDown. It's just so distasteful.
yeah.
What did
Like
half
you
the
could have
wrestlers show up to SmackDown and be like, "Oh yeah, man, turn around, dog, go buy yourself a fucking ticket."
Did you already pay for parking? You may want to catch that dude real quick.
you know that rental car we just paid for?
Yeah, we're gonna need
Yeah.
that
We're
back,
gonna need those
brother.
things.
You're welcome.
It's real glass.
We got to a hotel for the weekend, but other than that, good luck.
But it's just a shame, man. Absolutely a
No,
shame.
it doesn't make sense, man. There's a lot of people that are that should be Nikita Lyons being one of them, and she's being thrown around on TNA tapings that I've seen, and she's been injured pretty much the entire time that she's been here, whether it be an ACL or a fucking quad or whatever the fuck. She's always fucking injured. I don't think I've ever seen her be in a program longer than fucking 2
Because she
weeks.
sucks, man.
Yeah, she's not good. She's just attractive. That's all it is. And honestly, if we're being honest, she's not that attractive. But yeah, no, there's so many, and I just I understand it's a business. You gotta do what you gotta do. But at some point, the fan has to play into effect over the big dollar. The dollar signs, yeah, they're cool and they help the business grow. But so do the people that you build. You're building people that people are getting behind. It's like a superhero. You're building up a fucking superhero. You're getting this this big hero ending, and then you get to that point to where they're almost there. They're about to grab that brass ring, and you're like, yeah, get fucked. Like that's so.
It's because, like I said earlier, it's not Charlotte Flair, it's not Becky Lynch, who both have direct ties, with Charlotte with the legacy. Not saying I'm not using.
But Cody Rhodes is carrying the legacy, right?
No,
Charlotte's munching
I
off of
don't
it.
look. I'm not saying that at all. I would agree that fucking
Cody
same
should have been
thing.
released.
No.
Yeah. Should release Cody and Jey Uso. And Roman and CM Punk. Get all them fucking losers out of here. Fuck Roman Reigns too for supporting Sean. Fucking loser. I wonder how Roman is gonna feel if ever his diagnosis comes back and then all the health funding is taken away from it because that's what the Trump administration is going to do. Ow.
So I want to
Hey, Phil
introduce.
Brooks. Pipe bomb.
I'm gonna introduce. I'm switching gears here for the sake of politics are very messy. It's a very messy space to be a part of.
Well, there's a difference though. The Trump.
I agree 100%, Jared, but maybe
Why am
I don't know.
more
I see
liberal
your
than
point.
you? Why am I more liberal than you now?
I see your point. I'm just saying this is a public podcast where, yeah, I'm not saying I disagree with you. No, I agree. I'm just saying let's shift gears, bring him back to the wrestling.
The diagnosis thing is crazy. I'm not going.
No, he's not wishing it to come back. He's saying that because they are cutting several government fundings and things like that.
You know how that's gonna get twisted.
Well, we just cleared it up. So if it gets twisted, that means that other people who believe it didn't watch the whole thing. But anyways, I want everybody starting with Jared. Well, no, Jared kind of just gave his. I was gonna say, give me 3 wrestlers that you would release And give me 3 wrestlers you'd release and 3 wrestlers off that list that you would bring back.
Okay, the 3 wrestlers I would release: transphobic Logan Paul, transphobic Jada Parker, and Trumper Roman Reigns.
Wait, you said
Okay,
Jada Parker?
Oh yeah, she likes a lot of transphobic posts.
Really?
damn.
Yeah,
Okay, valid. And who would you bring back off the list? Only 3.
none of them. I'd bring them all to AEW where you're actually going to get properly cared about and actually be able to reunite your love for professional wrestling, because that's what Ricochet has done. Ricochet said that WWE absolutely made him mentally depressed. He hated life. WWE sucks the fun out of everything. And since he came back to AEW, his mental health has gotten a lot better, and his love for professional wrestling has returned because AEW cares about professional wrestling. They don't care about these fucking losers like Travis Scott. They ain't bringing in fucking clowns like Tony Hinchcliffe. They ain't doing all this bad PR stuff like Joey is, like talking about all the Trump stuff. Heyman making no one's on AEW's rosters making deportation jokes. AEW is phenomenal, and people hate it because they're ignorant. If you hate AEW, you're not a wrestling fan. You're a sports entertainment fan.
To be fair, AEW has Brian Cage on their roster, who ran a whole gimmick centered around being a MAGA Trump supporter and being like an immigrant, like an ICE like person. Like his whole gimmick was about deporting illegals. So ebbs and flows there, I guess, but he hasn't done that since he got signed.
That was a long
Gimmick.
time ago. It was a gimmick.
Okay, so I get your point, but the question was never mind. You're not going to answer it. So Tyler, give me your 3 release and your 3 you'd bring back.
3 release, Nikita Lyons.
John Cena.
Not on his retirement tour.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Nikita Lyons, and unfortunately, bro, I would say Alpha Academy. They're a waste to me, man. Like, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I love Akira Tozawa. I love Otis. There's nothing.
Dude, I wish Rusev and Malachi Black got released today. That would be
They-
so funny.
They they literally just got squashed by Rusev. Like, they're not doing it. Give
That's
them
fair.
an opportunity to go actually.
So then who are you bringing back?
Bringing back Oro, Jakara, Dakota.
Okay. Jared, I'm giving you a caveat on yours because I'm not happy with your answer. And since you don't want to play my game, I'm giving the caveat of the 3 that you release from WWE go directly to AEW.
Gunther. Seth
I think
Rollins,
I actually put this in favor. This was not a punishment.
Gunther, Seth Rollins,
Seth Rollins.
Ilya Dragunov. They'll have bangers. WWE
Now give me
doesn't have bangers.
now give me 3 wrestlers from AEW you would put in WWE right now.
Nick Comoroto, Mark Briscoe, because fuck Mark Briscoe, that racist piece of shit. Send fucking homophobic piece of shit Ric Flair back over as well.
No, it has to be a current AEW active wrestler.
Ari Daivari. I don't even know if he's still on the roster. Send him.
he answered my question. Okay. I posed this question. I didn't really have mine. With the 3 that I would release, I'm getting rid of AJ Styles.
Send him to AEW.
Send him wherever he wants. Just let him go. He's old. He's old. He's over there. Retire him. Retire him.
Going to AEW would be phenomenal. He'd be allowed to actually wrestle.
Let's see. So get rid of AJ Styles. Get rid of LA Knight. And get rid of actually not LA Knight. He's kind of grown on. You know what? Yes, get rid of him. He's done.
He could be pushed as a world champion instead of just staying in the mid card like Triple H keep putting him. I agree. Bring him to AEW
And
in
then
51.
I gotta agree with Jerry. Get rid of Logan Paul, man. Like that, he's
Don't
not
bring
good
him
for
to
business.
AEW though.
No, you took two of them to AEW. All three are going to AEW. So you
Let
can
him
either take all three or you take none at all.
let him get
What do you want
squashed
to
by
sacrifice?
let him get squashed by Nick. No.
He did just have his first full appearance.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
know how all these people got released. They got to pay Travis Scott.
that's actually a valid conspiracy theory right there, because they to pay him to be a part of the show as well as license his music. You never know. And then the three that I'm bringing back from the list is Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, and Shayna Baszler.
How about 3 AEW wrestlers you bring to WWE?
Three AEW wrestlers I'd bring to WWE. I'm going with Will
Just take my
Ospreay.
no. He would be so terrible. You know how watered down they would do Will Ospreay. Honestly, he would
I'm
not.
talking about who I would want to see there. Okay, and in my perfect world, they wouldn't water him down. Okay, this is a
Oh,
hypothetical
they
where we
would.
get to. Not in my world.
Your world doesn't
Um.
exist.
Anyways, Will Ospreay. Um. Just to piss off the powers that be, I'm bringing Nyla Rose. I fucking love Nyla Rose. I think she is phenomenal. She is
Oh
great.
yeah, Joey would not allow her to be there.
So I said to piss them off. And then I am bringing from AEW.
Take Mark
Fuck.
Briscoe.
I'm not taking Mark Briscoe. I'm taking Kenny Omega.
Why for him to be the speed champion within a month?
All right, Tyler, your turn. 3 AEW guys going to WWE.
Private Party and
Why just for WWE to lump him in with all the other black wrestlers and not both them? Also, one more thing I saw on Twitter. Sorry to cut you off. Did you know that WWE did nothing to celebrate Black History Month? No social media posts, no nothing.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I feel okay. So before I get into it, because I didn't speak on the political part because that just wasn't my cup of tea. Bro, relax, man. Like, golly, I
These all can't
understand.
be coincidences, though.
I do. I completely understand. I do, but you're making it into something that I don't think it is. It's sus. 110%. Do I agree with it? No, absolutely fucking not. But you can't be out here making baseless, very heavy accusations.
We're gonna get a cease and desist by Papa H, bro.
Dude,
to God,
I'll
bro.
frame it right fucking here.
To the Heel Club podcast. Look, I get both sides.
But yeah, no.
I get both sides. Oh, go ahead, Tyler. My bad.
Yeah, my bad. We can go back to that in just a second. Private Party and
Take Mark Briscoe.
Loki, who's not fucking Dante, but the other dude that was a part of Top Flight. Who was that?
Darius Martin.
Maybe.
Are we talking their best friend, Action Andretti?
He's pretty cool too. I like him. I wouldn't mind seeing him in WWE too.
Look, I agree. I would love Action Andretti in WWE. You know what, Jared? I'll give you guys back Will Ospreay for Action Andretti, okay?
Sounds good.
But I'm still taking Kenny.
He'll be a speed champion within a month.
But look, so Tyler, I definitely get what you're saying on the whole political thing. It is a little extreme. It is a little out there to think about. But at the same time, you have to look at if this is what the people are noticing themselves on X and what's being put out there to the masses of people who are reading these comments, who are seeing these posts, it's going to get around and it's going to get into the minds of the younger generation that are watching wrestling. And when then they start picking up on these things, like the fact that they didn't celebrate Black History Month, the fact that what was it? Fucking, they've released majority of the LGBT members on the roster, things like that. It's gonna get put into these kids' minds, like subconsciously, that's associated with wrestling. So in that aspect, I will credit AEW 1000% for being inclusive and allowing, trans women to wrestle, allowing, people to be themselves and, live,
I don't like
be
the
their
term. I don't like the term trans woman. It's just woman.
Okay, but they refer to themselves as trans women though. So it's a slippery road, but I get you. I'm the same. I see them as I see them as just women, but that is what they are commonly referred to. But you're right, they are just women. But shouts to AEW for giving people that platform, and that space to do so. But at the same time, these things do have to be called out. And I mean, mind you, we're just a small group here. We don't have that kind of traction right now. But hopefully, people on the much larger platforms can see these things and speak up, and maybe it'll make a change. Maybe there will be some light shed on it if that is in fact the case.
And to kind of piggyback off of that, I guess I understand it, and I think for especially with the WWE and how many like big time corporations they're with, I think that also plays a huge factor into a lot of these decisions being made because if they're especially with like Fox and shit, they're definitely not going to be they're not going to be an outlet. Let's be fucking.
So you're seeing the connections that
Yeah,
Jared's
no,
making.
I get it. I 110%, but to make a baseless accusation, it's crazy, but I understand it.
But it's not baseless when
get
you just it's not fully baseless when you just made the connection yourself, and that's a connection I didn't even think about. They are supported by Fox.
Dude, Keon Carver's going off again. So Fightful posted a picture that says, "What opinion has you like this?" And it's Kevin Owens going up like this. He said, "WWE is the most out of touch wrestling company on the planet. They disrespect their fans, water down their talent, and call it sports entertainment. It's not wrestling; it's factory made garbage wrapped in pyro and nostalgia." No.
And this is he's currently signed like
Uh,
we don't I'm taking this as either his exit or he was released, they just didn't report his name.
I think he's still currently signed, but
right now, as of 1:27 a.m. Eastern
I'm
time.
about to become the biggest Keon Carver fan, bro. Fuck yeah.
bro, he's going ham. Oh, I do not want to be the guy that makes the phone call that tells you he's fired.
That Javier was his best friend, I think.
Oh, okay. So Javier Bernal was his, okay.
Yeah, so he's
so
They've
yeah,
done some tag team stuff together.
okay.
He
How the
Well,
probably
fuck
shares
does
a lot of
Rich Holland?
sentiment.
How the fuck does Rich Holland still have his job? Fuck that guy.
He's been getting tagged on Instagram a lot too, and he's been tagging or snapping back at him, calling them virgins and all this shit. He's getting a little loosey goosey with his conversations too. So I wouldn't surprise me if he's next.
I saw Matt Cardona make a good tweet. He was talking about the releases today. That he said you can do one of three things: let this destroy you, two, coast off your WWE name, or three, reinvent yourself, and they'll come back calling. And I think Matt Cardona is probably the. I don't know if people will say Cody, people will say Drew. No, Matt Cardona is the best person to reinvent himself and become a bigger star after leaving WWE.
Oh yeah,
Love Matt Cardona so
100%.
much.
and
I might
Me
be
and Matt
biased.
Cardona.
I might be biased. Love the dude.
Me and Matt Cardona had a not so well. Not okay. It wasn't bad for him, but an interaction that put a sour taste in my mouth. But I still agree with you 1000%.
Maybe it's because he was a hoskie. You ever thought about that?
Wow. Maybe he loves the Huskies.
no, because he did the same thing for for the last batch of releases too, is he made like a post out there, and that's what I love that shit. I love that there's uplifting. I don't like
Dijak
when
also made a
right,
post too.
hate when motherfuckers try to tear people down and beat you down, especially in that situation, because that's not easy. Like it could just be a normal job.
Yeah.
Like if you got fired tomorrow, if you got fired tomorrow, like even if you don't like your job, it still sucks because then you're out of money. You don't
I
really
hate
have
my
a
job.
backup plan because you thought you were good, you were set, and
This place
then
here, fuck this place. Fuck Little Caesars.
Anyways,
Fuck Little Caesars.
we have covered a wide variety of topics tonight, and Jared, was there anything else you wanted to speak on tonight?
Um, trying to think. Not really, honestly. Watch Collision tonight on HBO. Not yeah, on HBO Max and TNT. Support
Tyler, your light
profession.
just. Oh, go. My bad. My bad.
Support support professional wrestling. That includes companies like AEW, New Japan, CMLL, and especially support your indie wrestling. That's the best kind of wrestling.
Tyler, what about you? Do you have any final thoughts on anything that you'd like to talk about?
there's gonna be a lot of backlash from a lot of things that we saw tonight,
Speaking of
and I'm very
Backlash,
excited
Backlash
for it.
is next week, and that's what's going to happen. I hope they all come in on Backlash. I hope it's a work and they're all just a new faction.
That I mean, probably not, but that'd be cool. Um, I
Poor
think
Jade has dropped her OnlyFans already, guys.
who did?
Core Jade, I believe, has dropped her OnlyFans.
That wouldn't
Never
surprise
mind.
me.
She said hit her up at Lena Black at Yahoo. Who the fuck still uses Yahoo? I'll take it back. Core J deserved to be released because he uses Yahoo. She
That's
has
why
not
they
dropped
released.
it. Never mind. But it's coming, and she's going to make a buttload of money.
You're not wrong, but
She still has the WWE shop, WWE merch shop in her link tree. I wonder when she's gonna get around to updating that. Anyways, Tyler, final thoughts. Finish your thoughts.
um, yeah, I think there's a lot of backlash that's gonna happen, and I'm very excited for it because they deserve every little bit that they're gonna get, and especially if it keeps going the way it's going, they're gonna have a lot of questions that's gonna need answered, and they're gonna have to do it the right way, or else yeah, we're gonna have some Rodney King riots happening. I think motherfuckers are gonna burn this shit to the ground.
Okay. My final thoughts are support your local independent professional wrestling company. Indie wrestlers work twice as hard as people in the WWE because even though they may not be on tour every day of the year, they're still grinding to get to that level. And honestly, if you've got a company within driving distance of you, I highly advise you to check it out. Buy the merch. That helps, you know. They don't make a lot of money. I mean, the average indie wrestler can make anywhere from $20 to $50 a show, and sometimes they put that in gas. So
And sometimes
go.
the gate was a little low tonight, man. Shout out Freddie Cornell, the scummiest West Virginia promoter.
Yes, yes. So support your local indie wrestlers, buy their merch, show them love. But that is all from myself. Jared, do you want to finish this off?
Yep. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe for true professional wrestling. Fuck Hulk Hogan, and we'll catch y'all next time.